The greatest days of the year is finally here. Bears versus Packers, first matchup of this season at Lambeau Field as the top of the NFC North Chicago Bears take on the second place in the NFC North Green Bay Packers. A huge game, first meaningful one in a very long time, and Luther Burden definitely has a meaningful game for him as he sends a strong message ahead of this one. But before I get more into all the news from today, hit that like button if you want a Chicago Bears win over the Green Bay Packers. Along with that, too, let's get an FGB train going in the comment section below. Final one before this matchup, arguably the biggest one yet, and I can't wait to see how many we get. But like this video, comment FGB, and subscribe to enter to win an autographed DeAndre Swift mini helmet. One, if you hit all notifications on your subscription, you get an extra entry. But let's get into it. This is the biggest game between these two, duking it out for playoff race, for top of the North, for top of the NFC, since that 2010 NFC Championship game that was at Soldier Field. This is where the flip of the script happens. This is where the Bears go into Lambeau and, first of all, become 2-0 in Lambeau in the same calendar year for the first time in over 50 years. But along with that, too, send a message that this team is really legit. They did that against the Eagles, but it just sent a message to the rest of the North that the Bears are taking the North and never giving it back. Bears are at top of the North right now at 9-3. Packers right behind them at 8-3-1. And then you have the Detroit Lions at 8-5 and the Minnesota Vikings at 4-8. Again, hasn't been this close since the technical beginning of the 2011 season where there was expectations entering that one, but really since 2010, since the NFC Championship. So let's get into it, folks. Bears versus Packers. Where do these two rank entering this matchup? Obviously a very big one at the moment. And looking at it, this is a top 5 day of the year because of how these teams are matched up at the moment. I'm super excited for this one. So let's go into the Bears offense versus the Packers defense, who I am not denying this, and Packers fans that are watching, the Packers have a very good defense. This is the biggest challenge that the Bears are going against. And yes, they are missing some key players, but it doesn't matter because they still have a lot of guys out there that can cause problems for this Bears offense. So Bears offensive rankings, even though they are top 10 in 3 of the 4 major categories, this defense is something that you cannot go easy against. Bears are 6th in yards per game, 15th in passing, 2nd in rushing, and 8th in points per game. Well, guess what? This is the best challenge yet because the Packers are top 10 in every single major defensive category at the moment. A very impressive year-over-year turnaround after talking to my good friend Bazaraki over at Bazaraki Productions. He said that this defense has looked entirely different thanks to one man, but let's go through it real quick. So 4th in yards per game allowed at only 284.8, 6th in total passing yards allowed, 8th in only allowing under 100 rushing yards per game, the big strength of the Chicago Bears, and 6th in points allowed per game at 18.8. And a lot of this comes from the veteran linebacker, Micah Parsons, who was traded to the Green Bay Packers way earlier in 2025, and he has been a huge impact for this team. There was worry about him with his back injury coming into to Green Bay. There was rumors about him looking overweight. Well, this guy's been absolutely dynamite for the Green Bay Packers. No denial about that. In Green Bay's 12 games so far this year, 38 total tackles, 18 of them solo with 12 tackles for loss, 12.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. So averaging a tackle for loss and over a sack per game at the moment. Incredible stats to say the least. And he has been worth every single penny for them. That being said, the Bears need to walk into this one with a lot of balance. Why? Because if they're going to go against a guy like that, even though they are missing, which we'll get into the injury report in a little bit, Micah Parsons still is going to be a big problem. And Caleb Williams walking into this game with over 2,700 passing yards, 17 passing touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. There's going to have to be a lot of balance between him, especially from the run and the pass. So he's going to have to run this ball, be Houdini again this game. And with over 300 rushing yards this year, 3 rushing touchdowns, and 22 first downs, he's going to need to be on his toes at all times. That being said, Bears need to feed the backfield in this one for sure. We have the number 2 rushing offense in the NFL, so that's clearly where our strength is, thanks to our great offensive line. Shout out to Dan Rochar and also running back coach Eric Bieniemy for getting these groups ready, and Ben Johnson designing a great game plan with the rest of his staff. Bears need to feed this backfield, and DeAndre Swift, this is going to be a huge game for this chapter in his career. If he can go into Green Bay and do what he's been doing and run all over them, this top 10 rushing defense in the NFL, I think that every Bears fan will be like, yes, DeAndre Swift is a guy. I know that we're almost all bought in. There's still some people that aren't. But Swift so far, man, I mean, against the Eagles, that tough defensive front versus Vic Fangio, 125 rushing yards, 1 rushing touchdown, a total of 138 yards, and that got him FedEx Ground and Air Player of the Week. But in 2025 so far, 744 rushing yards, 4.8 yards per carry with 5 rushing touchdowns. He has been dynamite. Let him stay hot, feed him the ball, give him angry runs, and that's what's going to work. But you got to do the same thing for running back 2, Kyle Monangai, who has been also just dynamite over the last couple of games for the Chicago Bears. I mean, 591 total rushing yards on the season with 4.9 yards per carry, 5 rushing touchdowns, and 49.3 yards per game. He didn't get really going to the last 4 games where he has 405 yards, a 5.1 yard per carry average, 4 rushing touchdowns, 4 games in a row with a rushing touchdown. Only other Bears rookie running back to ever do that is Walter Payton. He's averaging 81 yards per game. Let him stay hot as well. If you let Caleb Williams, really, this is going to be a big running day. If you can get to the outside, if you can run past this team and you can establish the run that's going to force them to play more up and then give the opportunity for Colston Loveland, Luther Burden, DJ Moore, Colt Kmet, all these guys to receive the ball downfield, that's what's going to open things up. You can't go in there swinging, passing the ball right away. And that's pretty much how the Bears are going to end up winning this game. Now let's go through the Bears defense versus the Packers offense real quick. I mean, Bears defense, not the greatest rankings overall. There's a lot more to the story. They're number 1 in takeaways. They have Nashawn Wright, who leads the NFL in total takeaways by an individual with 8. Kevin Byard, who leads the NFL at the moment with interceptions. But we've seen similar matchups to this one because the Packers offense, they're not as scary as they think. I mean, their defense is what's carrying them right now, but they still have a pretty respected offense. I mean, top 16 in every single category, so they're either at half or above half. But points per game, they're 10th, so they do get a lot of points on the board, probably because of their defense, to be honest with you. But also, the Bears have to stop Jordan Love. He's having a good year. And again, as a Bears fan, I am not going to deny that Jordan Love is having a good year so far. I mean, look at these stats. Over 2,700 passing yards, so similar to Caleb, but better completion percentage, 19 passing touchdowns, only 3 interceptions. And he gets a key target back, according to Adam Schefter, ahead of Sunday's game versus the Bears. The Packers activated wide receiver Jaden Reed off of injured reserve, which Reed, dangerously fast wide receiver, Naperville native. I don't know if he grew up a Bears fan or not, but he has been impactful for this Packers offense when active. And with, his 24 stats, he really hasn't played that much this year. Career high of 857 yards, 6 receiving touchdowns, and 15.6 yards per catch. Dangerous yard per catch guy. Just have to put that out there. And another guy that the Bears have to be super careful of is Josh Jacobs, Packers veteran running back, having a very solid season for them so far with 731 rushing yards, 3.9 yards per carry with 11 rushing touchdowns. He's been electric for them. Dangerous in the red zone as well. He's a bully running back that can get into him. So Bears defense has to be on their toes and ready to go against this team. Plain and simple. Get pressure into the backfield, stop the run, and guess what you're going to have? You're going to have a nice game against the Green Bay Packers today. It's going to be a dogfight between these guys. No, I am fully confident in that this Bears team is going to have their work put out for them against this Packers squad. So we need to respect that. They respect us because we have a good defense as well and offense as well. It's going to be a good one. Guys, let's go into the final injury report ahead of this one. If you're looking at your fantasy lineups, Bears report, it's not too bad. Finally, just want to say that it's not too bad. Yes, Tremaine Edmonds is on IR, but Rome Odunze, Tyreek Stevenson, who have been dealing with injuries, are both out, and Ruben Hippolyte, a depth guy, is also out. That being said, Andrew Billings, good. Edwards, good. Jalen Johnson, good. Monangai, good. Robinson, good. Sewell, good. And Joe Tooney, good. So the Bears have a lot of their key guys there, and it's Luther Burden time with Rome Odunze out. Now, what I wanted to get at here is that Luther Burden said, listen, that's staying with me forever when it came to being taken by no one in the first round, and everyone who passed up on me has to pay. Well, the Packers were a huge linked team to him, and Green Bay took Golden instead of Luther Burden. And how's that worked out for them? Well, he has less receiving touchdowns than Caleb Williams does this year, as Caleb Williams only has 1. That being said, Luther Burden's ready to rip it up with 26 receptions, 34 targets with 12.6 yards per catch, 1 receiving touchdown, and 328 receiving yards. He's ready to go. And that's what I'm excited about, man. It's going to be a good one. The last thing, though, about this one is a big factor is that the Packers have a lot of guys out, a lot of key guys out as well. And this defense has been using a lot of them. But with that, I mean, from Mike Spofford, Green Bay has ruled out receiver Savion Williams. So even though they got Jaden Reed back, they lose him. Marshawn Floyd, running back, is out, so they lose depth at the running back position. Defensive lineman Lucas Van Ness dealing with a foot injury, also out. And Devontae Wyatt, their big defensive lineman up the middle that helps that rush defense. Big one loss as well. And then Colin Avera out for the hamstring injury. Now, Devontae Wyatt, 27 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 4 sacks this year for the Green Bay Packers with 2 pass deflections. The big interior defensive lineman, huge factor in the run game. He's gone. Injured against the Lions, won't be active against the Bears. Won't be active for the rest of the season, to be exact. So that's a huge one there. And then Lucas Van Ness, Barrington native, who for the Green Bay Packers was a high pick, can be impactful when he is on the field. He has also been ruled out. So Bears offensive line needs to absolutely be dialed in for this game against the Green Bay Packers. I'm excited about this one because it gives a huge challenge, but we'll see what ends up happening. But guys, that's the final report ahead of this one, ahead of Bears versus Packers. Get excited, get loud. And we have our live stream starting at 2:50 today ahead of Bears versus Packers. Make sure you guys tune in for that. But with that, thank you as always for this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. If you haven't already, please go like, comment, and subscribe. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, bear down, baby.